Hello everyone, we are pleased to present the main findings of our latest report on the gas market outlook in India.
Natural gas has a long history of ups and downs in the Indian energy system. We had a short production boom until 2011, which led to a rapid rise in domestic demand. But this fizzled out very quickly and demand went into a decline for several years. A more gradual demand recovery started around 2015, but the COVID-19 pandemic and the global energy crisis disrupted this recovery with periods of sharp decline. After more than a decade of these boom and bust cycles, total gas consumption in 2023 was only marginally higher than it was in 2011. However, we believe that gas use in India is now at an inflection point, and we could have a period of strong and sustained growth between now and 2030. There are three main reasons for this turnaround. The rapid expansion of gas infrastructure, which was a key bottleneck for gas demand growth in previous years, the recent rebound in domestic production, which is typically cheaper than imported LNG, and the expected wave of new LNG supply, which could reduce the price of imported LNG significantly in the second half of the decade.
Infrastructure bottlenecks and downstream connectivity issues limited the growth of gas in India's energy mix in the past. But the build-out of infrastructure has sped up in recent years, and the process is expected to continue in the rest of the decade. Since 2019, the number of residential gas connections have more than doubled, and the number of compressed natural gas stations almost quadrupled. The capacity of LNG import terminals went up by 75%, and the length of the long-distance transmission pipeline system increased by roughly 40%. Between now and 2030, we expect the number of CNG stations and residential connections to nearly double again, and the size of the gas transmission grid to increase by another 50%. There is also another nearly 40 BCM of LNG import capacity in various stages of development currently, which can help meet growing energy demand later in the decade. Additional market reforms and policy support could further accelerate the pace of the infrastructure build-out and increase utilization rates.
Our forecast indicates that India's total gas consumption could increase by nearly 60% from around 65 BCM in 2023 to nearly 103 BCM by 2030. This growth is mainly driven by the city gas distribution sector, various manufacturing and heavy industries, and power generation. The refining sector is also expected to contribute to this increase as more refineries get connected to the grid. At the same time, growth prospects for petrochemical and fertilizer production are more limited because we do not see any additional capacity additions that would use gas before 2030. Targeted policy measures could push demand even further to around 120 BCM by 2030, and this additional consumption would come from a higher utilization of India's stranded gas-fired power plants, faster adoption of LNG in heavy-duty transport, a more rapid expansion of India's city gas infrastructure, and the full replacement of LPG with natural gas in the commercial segment.
Meanwhile, India's domestic gas production is expected to grow much more slowly between now and 2030. After a decade of decline and stagnation, we've seen a strong rebound in India's domestic production since 2020, thanks to the ramp-up of 3 deepwater fields in the Krishna-Godavari basin. But this ramp-up was largely complete in 2024, which leaves smaller coal bed methane projects and discovered small fields to drive additional production growth until 2030. At the same time, production from existing deep-water fields and older legacy areas will decline, which means that domestic production in 2030 will be just under 38 BCM, roughly 8% higher than in 2023.
One promising area for additional gas supply growth is compressed biogas production, where India has some great potential. The challenges are also quite significant, including the high cost of land, uneven feedstock supply, and the marketing challenges for both biogas and its byproducts. The government has introduced several policy initiatives to support CBG production, including a mandatory selling obligation of biogas alongside natural gas for city gas companies. With these policies in place, we expect India's compressed biogas production to ramp up to just under 1 BCM by 2030, from very close to zero today. Additional policies could lead to a more rapid uptake, and we discuss these policies in detail in the report.
Rapid consumption combined with sluggish production growth mean that India's LNG imports will need to more than double to around 65 BCM by 2030 to bridge the growing gap between supply and demand. There are two big implications from this. First, the rapid rise in LNG demand means that India will need additional LNG import capacity towards the end of the decade. Second, as legacy LNG contracts come to an end, India will face a growing gap between contracted LNG supply and projected LNG demand after 2028. This means that India will be much more exposed to spot market volatility by the end of the decade unless it signs additional LNG contracts in the next few years.
For more information on the gas market outlook in India, please check out our new report on the IEA website and the official launch presentation at the India Energy Week in Delhi on the 12th of February. With this, we thank you very much for your attention and hope to see you again soon.